Ugh. No. Just... no. Alright, I guess I have to talk about this one anyways. I think Super Soccer is the worst soccer game I've ever played. And I'm counting those tables where you spin the guys attached on the pole. There isn't a thing here that's worth playing. Even in 1985, this was the case. Admittedly, I rarely have much hope for a sports game when I start it up. Generally speaking, for me the best case scenario with that genre is that it just plays smoothly enough that it doesn't hurt. And Super Soccer was way below that expectation. When you start the game, you can choose what country you're playing as, and all that really does is change the color of your uniform. And then you start playing, and just look at it. That is so bad, I actually went into super slow motion and broke out the math. There's a little bit of wiggle room here, but by my count, the game plays at a little bit under 8 FPS. And if you think that hurts to look at, imagine how it feels to play. Each team only has 6 players, including the goalie, and one of the team members has a dot above their head. What's that dot mean? Not really sure, it's not in the manual. You would think it would mean which character you were controlling, but actually, you're controlling the entire team simultaneously. All players on the field and the goalie are being controlled every time you move the joystick. Which is honestly the least annoying part of the game. That at least makes sense for a soccer game in 1985. My best guess is that the dot indicates which player is supposed to be the center, but it doesn't really matter. When you have the ball, the left button does nothing, and the right button will kick. Technically, if you hold down the button longer, it's supposed to kick further. I couldn't get it to do this consistently. Some of that might be the Super Cassette Vision's controllers, where pressing a button in shifts the whole thing in my hand, but either way, it doesn't work very well. If you don't have the ball, the left-hand button will make players jump into the air, while the right-hand button will do a slide kick. Your goalie will do a diving catch when you press the right-hand button, but it's still basically a slide. Speaking of the goalie, since you're always controlling them, if you've been running down the ball as it's going upfield, then you're probably going to find your goalie out of place when it comes time to block. At least with the goalie, you have a decent chance of intercepting something by jumping. I never managed to pull it off with any of the other fielders. Another issue with controlling everyone at once is that you'll often wind up with teammates running off field. I suppose technically you could maneuver things so that teammates could intercept, but you're right there on top of the ball. Of course you're going to keep going for it. And really that's all there is to Super Soccer. Of course it's going to be a basic soccer game, but boy is this one miserable to play. The controls feel so stiff and unnatural. There's this weird thing where you can zigzag while dribbling, and you wind up dribbling the ball about 4 or 5 times as much as if you were traveling in a straight line. And kicking the ball back in after any penalty often winds up with the ball just going right back again. Super Soccer is a bad, bad soccer game. I have to assume it was pushed out the door to compete with Nintendo's Soccer, which also isn't very good, but that game is worlds better than this.